This is part 2 of the Chapter 2 lecture notes. We left off with this slide here on how water molecules surround the ions that form sodium chloride. The sodium ion has a positive charge. The chloride ion has a negative charge. So the way that the water splits the sodium chloride compound up into its ions, sodium and chloride ions, is that the slightly negatively charged end of the water molecule, the oxygen end, will surround the sodium ion because the negative and positive charges are attracted to each other. And the slightly positively charged end of the water molecule, the hydrogen end, will surround the negative chloride ions because of the opposite charges. So this is how water works to dissolve ionic compounds and also polar molecules as well, polar molecules such as sugars, different sugars. Okay, so that's water as a solvent. We're still talking about characteristics that water has that make it a good solvent for living things. And the reason that water is such a large part of our body mass, is such a large percentage of our body mass. We have so much water inside of our cells and inside of our body fluids because of all these characteristics that water has. Water is a polar molecule, and water molecules have the ability to form hydrogen bonds. So another property that water has is cohesion. That's the ability of water molecules to cling to each other. Leads to surface tension. And you see surface tension when you see certain insects that can walk across the surface of the water. Adhesion is the ability of water molecules to cling to other polar surfaces, and this creates capillary action. This allows for water to move from the roots of the tallest trees in the world all the way up to the tip-top branches, to the very top leaves of the tree. So cohesion and adhesion together account for the water transport in plants as well as the transport in blood vessels within animals. And this is an illustration showing you the a tree where water is going to have to reach deep in the ground to the furthest roots all the way up to the tipmost top of the tree, branches to the leaves, and that the reason it can do that is due to cohesion and adhesion. Okay, another property that water has that makes it very useful in our world is that the solid form of water, which we call ice, is actually less dense or lighter than liquid water. And that's not true for most substances. Most substances, the solid is heavier than the liquid form of that substance. But ice will float on the top of water. And so we know that what happens as water freezes is that it expands, okay? So that's what makes it lighter. So without this property, ice would sink, oceans would freeze solid from the bottom up instead of the top down. And that would not be good. And the other thing that ice does when the surface of the water freezes is it acts as an insulator for the organisms that live underneath. And this is just showing you, of course, ice floating on the surface of water. Our last section is on acids and bases. pH is a measure of the acidity or the basicity of a substance. Another way to say that is pH is actually a measure of the hydrogen ion concentration in a solution. So the higher or the greater the hydrogen ion concentration, the more acidic the solution is and the lower the pH. So what happens when water dissociates or ionizes, when it splits up, is we know there's 2 molecules of hydrogen and 1 molecule of oxygen. One of those hydrogens becomes a hydrogen ion with a positive charge. and the other one is attached to an oxygen, and it becomes that together they become a hydroxide ion, OH, with a negative charge. So if it's just water dissociating, you're going to have an equal mixture of hydrogen ions and hydroxide ions, and the pH will be 7. But if you have an acid dissolved in the water, it will release excess hydrogen ions, and the pH will drop lower than 7. If you have a base dissolved in water, it will either remove those excess hydrogen ions or it will release hydroxide ions. Either way you look at it, it's going to lower the concentration of hydrogen ions, and by doing that, it will raise the pH. So acids lower the pH and bases raise the pH. So the pH scale goes from 0 to 14. Less than 7 is acidic, 7 is neutral, and greater than 7 is basic, or another word for basic is alkaline. Now below you see the way that pH is calculated, which I will not test you on in this class. And then here on slide 44, you see the pH scale represented by different common substances that we all know. Sodium hydroxide might not be a common substance to you, but it is found in Drano, which we use to unclog our drains. And lye soap, which is not used that much anymore. Lye is not used that much anymore, except sometimes to straighten hair, but it will burn the scalp. So because of the fact that, and a lot of people think that acids burn the skin, but bases also burn the skin. Sodium hydroxide is a very strong base that can burn the skin as well. Now, if you go on up, household bleach, household ammonia, a lot of cleaners, even soaps and dish detergent, that kind of thing, are going to be basic. The stronger that they are, the more basic that they are. There are some cleaners that clean like corrosion, and they are acid-based, but they're like industrial cleaners. But the ones we use, household bleach, household ammonia, even when we use baking soda as a cleaner, because there's some cleaning products that contain baking soda. Baking soda is going to serve also as a base. Seawater is slightly basic. Blood is not on here, but blood is slightly basic. It's like 7.35 to 7.45. Then we've got acids. Urine is a weak acid. Then coffee, tomatoes, vinegar is a stronger acid. Your drinks like your Coca-Cola products, sodas are going to be acidic. Stomach acid and lemon juice are pH of 2, so they're pretty acidic. And then hydrochloric acid, which is technically the acid found in our stomach, but it's not as in such a strong concentration. So hydrochloric acid is very strong. Of course, it has a pH of 0, so it's going to be very, very strong acid. Now, in our body, we have to maintain a pH of our body fluids within normal limits. And since the pH of human blood and other body fluids, most other body fluids, is around 7.4, if it drops too far below that, acidosis results. You may have heard of DKA, or diabetic ketoacidosis, which can result whenever a person's blood sugar or blood glucose levels are too high for too long. They will begin to produce ketones, and that will cause their blood pH to drop below 7, and it can lead to death. So what we have buffers, which are chemicals that can keep pH within normal limits. A buffer, if your blood pH drops below 7, a buffer will help to raise it. In the other situation, if your blood pH rises above 7.8, that can cause alkalosis, which is when your pH is too basic. That can come from like dehydration. It can come from excessive vomiting or diarrhea, anything that can cause you to be so dehydrated. That can lead to a higher blood pH. But buffers help are built in within our the chemicals that are dissolved within our body fluids. They're designed to help keep our blood pH around 7.4. One of the most important buffer systems in our body is the carbonic acid buffer system. It doesn't show you that here, but carbonic acid buffer system is designed to prevent our pH from changing too much. So that's the end of this chapter. Make sure you do the recorded lecture quiz that's posted in Moodle.